Joshua Williamson, Jeremy Adams, Chuck Brown, Philip Kennedy Johnson, Stephanie Phillips, and a slew of artists explore a world without the Justice League as the next generation of heroes figure out how to deal with the immense weight left on their shoulders while also combating the rising tide of supervillains. Joshua Williamson, Jeremy Adams, Chuck Brown, Philip Kennedy Johnson, and Stephanie Phillips deliver a really fantastic set of stories here which explore what's happening in the world of DC Comics now that the Justice League have been killed, and how both the hero and villain communities are reacting to it. The book was sure to touch on how the world's finest, or the new world's finest, Superman and Nightwing are reacting to it all, and their partnership just continues to be immensely pleasing and so much better than John and Damian since actual character development is happening now. It was fantastic seeing John and Dick relate to one another over their father figures dying throughout various other crises and deaths of Superman, but then also coming back, and how in this situation Dick is the one who is adamant that they will come back because they always come back. And they have to come back, instilling that hopeful fire back into John, who is kind of feeling it a little bit that his father might not come back because this is, in his lifetime, the first time his father has died. Wally stepping up and helping Wallace and explain why he always keeps the levity in the room and hope burning was really brilliant, and a brilliant use of that character and tracks super well with how he's been ever since he came back post Heroes in Crisis. And I like the way they've been building up in the Flash book as well, as he's this symbol of hope, and it's great to see that make a return. The Prior story was probably the most surprising since it just is a tragic origin to how the man began working for the Great Darkness and how he fought so hard to change his ways but in the end just couldn't. Almost like it's a meta commentary on the crises themselves and how they can't change what they are all that much and they have to be used as a reboot of a universe. So I like Philip Kennedy Johnson going there. All his stories recently have been really kind of high concept like that, so it's really cool that he got to do that with Prior. Hal Jordan also makes a return to Earth this issue, and that was really cool to see him with a unique team up with Jackson Hyde's Aquaman, and it was quite a refreshing team up since those are two characters you seldom see together, even if it was just Arthur as Aquaman, so I liked that team up and would definitely like to see more of it. The book isn't all good since I found the final Nocturna story at the end of the book really strange, since where we left off with her in that great Suicide Squad book that just ended recently, she was kind of turning over a new leaf with Match, and they had a relationship going and it looked like they wanted to like be together and sort of escape the hero and villain world and all the crap that comes with it. But here she's just turned around and been retconned back into just a plain villain, and she fights Batgirl. It was incredibly disappointing, but maybe we're just seeing the start of her story in Dark Crisis, and maybe parts of that story from Suicide Squad will come back a little later on as the series progresses, so we'll just wait and see. Dan Jurgens, Rossi Campe, Fico Ozio, Leila Del Duca, and Clayton Henry team for some really fantastic artwork for each of these stories, making it just so hard to have a favourite out of all of them, and I just can't really choose. However, Dan Jurgens tackling a story about Superman's death and Batman's death and getting to draw John and Dick was just so great, and he made them look so timeless, really capturing their characters really well and how they imbue the best parts of their fathers. Leila Del Duca's art for the Aquaman and Green Lantern story was beautifully dark and fitting for a story about the Great Darkness, yet it was filled with so many bright colours, and designs of the alien parasites was just so simple yet really cool to look at, and I really appreciated that. Justice League Road to Dark Crisis issue 1 was a pretty great series of stories that reaffirm to the world it's still in good hands without a Justice League, sowing the seeds of hope throughout the hero community while setting up something very dark and sinister within the villain community. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10. Justice League Road to Dark Crisis issue 1 finds Nightwing fighting Brick in Gotham, wondering why the villain is all the way there and not in Star City. Brick knows that without Batman, Gotham is prime real estate, but Nightwing reminds him there is more than one Knight, and he's lucky he ran into him and not the Batgirls. Suddenly, Superman smashes Brick into the ground as Dick asks why John is there, why he didn't come sooner, and he had it handled all by himself. Superman knows that he shouldn't be making jokes at a time like this, since Black Adam told them the Justice League is now dead. Dick tries to calm John gone down, but he wants to know why he's not freaking out, since they could be really gone. Dick knows that Clark has died years before, wanting to leave Brick for the Gotham PD as the heroes go and get a drink to calm down. Dick tells John that at Superman's funeral, Batman had such a matter-of-fact attitude about Clark's death, and he didn't want them to all know how he really felt. Dick knew that if Bruce showed how he really was, it would scare the rest of them, and in a few months Superman returned. Dick reveals that years later after that, Batman died as well, and he thought it was just a trick, but once they confirmed it was real, he put on the bat suit, revealing that Superman was actually pretty mad at him for doing that, but eventually saw why he had to do that, and then Bruce came back just like Clark did. He remembers how Barry's death impacted Wally a lot as well, and sometimes he thinks that Barry coming back hurt Wally even more. John wonders if he doesn't worry about death now, but Dick does. However, he has faith since he refuses to give up on Clark, Bruce, Diana, and the rest of the League, since they've shown countless times that they can't give up on hope. John reveals that he talked with some of the other heroes and they are scared since they don't have Dick's experience. Dick explains that that's why the Titans Academy is a priority for him, since he needs to prepare these kids. John also reveals that Young Justice are building statues in front of the Hall of Justice to honor the fallen, and they are planning a vigil, wanting Dick to come and say something. Dick thinks that they are overreacting and they don't need to start a new Justice League since the old one are coming back. John reminds him that people don't always come back, making Dick remember his parents and even Alfred. John worries about the Dark Army coming for them as they are brought their food, beef bourguignon and ketchup, Clark's favourite. Dick knows it's pretty disgusting, but figured John could use some good comfort food. Suddenly Kid Amazo and some Amazo prototypes begin rampaging through the city, and John knows that Dick knew they would be coming. Dick admits that he did hear something on the grapevine about a villain breaking into Star Labs, wondering if Superman is up for a team up. Dick thanks John for coming to him since he didn't realize how much he was acting like Bruce, not wanting to worry the hero, so he hid his own worries. John knows that he was also being a bit like his father as well, but what do they do now? Dick asks him what would Clark do, so Superman tells him that he would tell him it's his duty to be strong and carry on the Justice League's legacy. As they rush off into battle, Superman asks if Nightwing will talk at the vigil, and Dick knows he definitely will. In Central City, Wally, Wallace and Linda meet with Iris, learning Barry has been gone for a couple of months now, knowing that she didn't come to them sooner since that's what Barry does, and he disappears for weeks on end, but then he comes back like nothing ever happened. She knows though that since hearing of the League, something is definitely wrong. Wallace mentions Avery Ho was with Justice League Incarnate, wondering if something happened to her as well. Wally thinks about how his family are scared and he needs to do something, so he tells Iris that he'll find Barry, but right now the world needs him. Iris understands, wanting Wally to go save the day, so Flash and Kid Flash race out of the city as Wally talks about the first time Barry died and how every criminal in a costume and power decided to pop out of the woodwork and make a name for themselves, and he spent the first few months as Flash making sure they all knew that Keystone and Central City were protected. He knows the same will happen now with the League gone and they are going to have to play whack-a-mole, a game Wallace doesn't actually know anything about. Wally leads Wallace against Giganta, helping clear the road of innocence before smashing the villain in the face, toppling her down. Wallace gets some chains from a nearby mechanics and restrains the giantess, with Wally telling her that if she gets out of line again, she's going to get an earful. Wallace wonders if now's the time for dad jokes, and Wally knows it's always time for dad jokes. The Flashes speed off around the world, stopping many villains as Wally knows that the world is hard and full of pain and darkness, and if you let it in, it can paralyze you into inaction, which is why he jokes and smiles and believes in hope, and the reason the League was formed wasn't to save their worthless species, but to protect what makes their species worth something, and it's that hope that keeps them going forward and keeps him running. Wallace suggests that they split up to cover more ground, so Wally says that he'll take the northern hemisphere while Wallace takes the south, and the one with the least villains captured by 8 PM buys dinner in Chicago at their favourite pizza joint. Wallace speeds off as Wally returns to the Flash Museum, finding Barry's statue outside. He knows it doesn't mean less when one of them dies, it just means their sacrifice is more than just a moment in time, and it's a reminder to live a life of purpose. Superman soon contacts Wally, telling him about the cult of Cobra attacking Washington DC, so Wally speeds off to help his friend, knowing the world can always count on its heroes. In Sector 2814, Hal Jordan pursues a dangerous interplanetary creature back to Earth, calling for backup from the Justice League, but no one responds. The creature falls towards Earth as Hal knows that he can't let it into the ocean. The creature, however, impacts into the ocean and begins to transform, multiplying as it heads for Atlantis. The Atlanteans spot it as Aquaman responds to the threat, wishing Arthur was there to help him, but based on Hal's distress call, these things aren't fish or friends. Jackson can tell that they are predators as he attacks, knowing that they won't get by him. Suddenly, one of the creatures bites him as Hal joins him, flooding his memory with images of the Justice League. Hal is happy that the hero kept them busy, introducing himself as Jackson introduces himself as well, telling him he was Arthur's partner. Hal tells him that no one knows where these creatures came from, since they are from an uncharted bit of space, and they are going to need Aquaman for this. Jackson realizes that Hal doesn't know, telling him that the League are all dead. He knows he doesn't have any answers for Hal, but Hal wants to deal with these aliens first, since they have eradicated all life on other planets' oceans that they have visited. Jackson knows that something is wrong with them, wanting Hal to drop the force field around them as Jackson assures him that he doesn't know what he's doing, he's just doing it. He tells Hal that they need to create a lot of centrifugal force, so the hero gets to work and they separate the parasite alien from its host. Jackson talks with the alien, who is freed now, assuring them that they are all friends. Hal gets ready to take the alien back up into space, as Jackson warns him of the Atlantean Council preparing for a power vacuum left in the League's wake, so the world may need him, but Atlantis needs him more. Hal knows it's okay to take his time with this, and he's off to find out what happened to the League, reminding Jackson that he and the other young heroes need to step up, since the world will need them. Elsewhere, a man walks through a snow-filled park, telling himself that he is saving the world, but not in some great discovery or with some great deed, but by letting the cosmos just spin uninterrupted. There is suddenly a bright light as a woman soon appears in front of him, asking if he's okay, and he seems to have lost something. And if he has, she could help him find it. The bright light returns and the woman turns into someone else who tells the man that they could find whatever he has lost together, and if only he would build the machine. The man rushes off, telling the woman that she doesn't exist, as a woman in a white dress appears in her place, saying that she did exist and so did their children, asking if he's ever going to acknowledge them. The man is revealed to be Pryor, who says that he understands the nature of the multiverse better than anyone else since he found the first evidence of it, and he was the one whose hubris came to destroy it. He experiences another of the flashes as he knows being dragged back into existence. He knows some bastardized version of the multiverse must exist, but it's not what it should be, and there is no universe in which his family lives. His wife Sondra tells him to build the machine and bring them back with its power, since it could do anything with it. Pryor knows that the Monitor, Owens, Controllers, and even Darkseid all had power, and it was never enough, and every time he opens his eyes, the world ends. He says sorry to his wife, knowing this multiverse is a false one, but her and her kids have no place in it, and he refuses to burn it all down again. Pryor thinks that he's finally free from the woman until Sondra comes back, screaming with her eyes blackened by a darkness, saying that he abandoned their family and his work doomed them, and she wouldn't accept that he cannot save them. She tells him to build the machine, but Pryor still refuses, wanting to put things right, having accepted the truth that all the multiverse requires to thrive is that its Pryor do nothing. He knows he would rather kill himself than build the machine, so Sondra tells him to go and do it then. So Pryor finds a nearby tower, climbing to its roof and readying to jump. He tearfully tells himself that this is how he saves the world, just by standing aside. The bright light happens again and he finds himself in a bombed out city, thinking it's all in his head. The great darkness appears, hoping that he can now see that the multiverse is in danger and only he can save it. Pryor becomes possessed by the great darkness, knowing that he will build the machine for the being. Sometime in the past, Nocturna tries to steal a moon talisman when Batman arrives to stop her. She knows that humans have stars in their bones, and what comprises their bodies originated in the stars over the course of billions of years, and when stars die, they are swept into space to become the basis of new stars and even new life. In the present, Nocturna tells herself that the lives and deaths are a constant cosmic cycle as she confronts a security guard, told to leave the museum she broke into. Nocturna knows that with the League gone, his partner had the right idea by running when she turned up, up, and so should he. The guard escapes as she heads to the Egyptian exhibit, finding a necklace she needs. Batgirl appears, wondering if she's doing this because she needs the challenge, or is there something she's not telling her about her feelings for Batman again. Nocturna wonders how Batgirl feels knowing that she isn't good enough to die with the real heroes, and she's just backup at best, not even good enough to be a sidekick. The hero and villain fight across the exhibit, but Batgirl bests Nocturna, knowing that she's good enough to ruin her night. Nocturna kicks Batgirl's baton from her hand, but Batgirl is ready, bringing her other baton down. However, Nocturna catches it, wondering who taught her that move. Steph says that Batman did, as Nocturna asks why the hero is following her, wondering if something has happened. But Steph knows it's all different now, equating Gotham to a black hole, and nothing escapes its pull. Nocturna tells her not to fear the night when it's particularly empty, as Batgirl is soon called away by Oracle to deal with something else, warning Nocturna not to steal anything. Nocturna bids her farewell and soon sees someone on a rooftop above. On the roof, Nocturna finds Firefly, who wants to offer her a place in the secret society of supervillains. Nocturna wonders why she should even join them, as Firefly says that Gotham is a black hole and they have a plan, introducing her to the rest of the society members, telling her their plan is much bigger than Gotham.